welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who is currently deep in training for a fist fight against an immortal deity. It's Jonny Numb.
I'm actually stopping to indulge in some karaoke and some Thai iced tea. I'm taking a break.
So you are going to have a sanctioned pay-per-view fist fight with an immortal deity. How did you get into this?
It's hard to say. I had a dream one night. And it just kind of bubbled up from there. I couldn't tell what was a dream and what was reality. It was a bit like a David Lynch film. And, from there, this guy said he was immortal. He said he was God in so many words, of course, and gestures. And I was like, you know what? What have I got to lose? And at least I can say I battled an immortal deity. Not battled. I fist fought an immortal deity. And you can't see it right now, but I'm making fists with my hands.
So unlike this movie, there will be no leg kicks or head kicks or, mid-level kicks. It's just you two with fists.
Absolutely.
It's basically like a traveler bare-knuckle boxing match in Ireland, but televised between you and the guy. It's you two in a field surrounded by caravans, and you're going to be bare-knuckle boxing.
You have me feeling doubtful about the Thai iced tea I'm having right now, Mark, that I really should be taking this more seriously.
Yeah, I mean, it's you guys. I was hoping that you were at a Haagen-Dazs and you walked around and he walked in. Whoever it is, it transcends gender and person. It bumps into you. Your Haagen-Dazs goes straight into your nose, and you're like, "Hey, why don't you apologize?" And the deity just looks at you, and then you're like, "All right, what are you gonna do?" And then the mortal deity just looks at you, and you're like, all right, bare-knuckle boxing match, pikey style, traveler style, in a field, pay-per-view. And the thing just nodded, and now you're stuck with it. And you didn't get any ice cream.
Actually, I'm still sort of cleaning out my nose from the time of the incident, actually. So I'm still not really over that. Brain freeze is even worse when the Haagen-Dazs goes, directly up your nose. So.
Oh, no, it's close to your brain.
Yeah, exactly. It's like snorting cocaine if you're only the cocaine is Haagen-Dazs. So
it's a good thing the cone wasn't upside down. You might have been killed. Quick question: what flavor ice cream was it?
I'm a vanilla man myself. I'm a man of very simple tastes and pleasures. Yes.
That'd have been funny if it was like Angel's Food Cake ice cream.
Well, they didn't have any birthday cakes, so I was just kind of disappointed, and the first thing that popped into my head was vanilla, so I just took vanilla.
I have a surprise for you.
Okay.
Here's what we're going to do. It's a draft, right?
Okay.
We're going to pick movies that have either an angel or a demon in them, or imply that heaven and hell is real.
Okay.
All right? So, pick a number between 1 and 2.
2.
All right, you get first pick. So it can feature an angel. It can be like The Sixth Man, that basketball movie where an angel helps a basketball team. Or it can be like Angels in the Outfield, the original or the remake.
Okay. All right.
All right. So what's your first pick?
A movie with an angel in it.
Or a demon. Or like anything. Like a ghost, like an exorcist, right? Or a witch. Because they worship the occult, correct? So if a witch can fly, then there must be a deity. I'm open to anything. So just give me what you got.
How about... Oh boy. How about for
They all just came rushing on you, didn't they? You're like, this will be easy. Then you went, whoa.
Yeah, there's just so much. How about for a demon we go with Rosemary's Baby?
Oh, I think you just won it right there. You did. You just won it. You took me out. It's all downhill from here. All right, so I'm gonna go for the popular vote and go Constantine.
Ooh, good one. Are you going Tilda Swinton?
Oh yeah, Gabriel and
Ooh,
Peter. Yeah.
Oh,
all right.
Wish I would have thought of that. Yeah.
Who you got next? So yeah, Rosemary's Baby. I have Constantine.
How about what is it? Whatever possesses Reagan in The Exorcist.
So we'll just go with the movie. So you got The Exorcist. So we're just picking a movie with a demon in it.
Is that okay?
Yeah. No, that was the goal. I explain things terribly because I know exactly what I'm trying to say, but I don't tell other people. Gotcha. Yeah, got it. So you have Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist. There's no way I win this. So I'm going to go with Drag Me to Hell as a Hail Mary.
Oh, no. I wouldn't sell yourself short. That's good. Drag Me to Hell is a good one.
That's my favorite horror movie.
Oh, it's a great movie. I love it. I think it's one of Sam Raimi's best for sure. Yeah.
All right, who's your third pick? And I'm going to put this up on Movies, Films, and Flicks Facebook to vote on. So if you're listening and you don't follow Movies, Films, and Flicks Facebook, I put up cheeky polls. You can vote on this. All right, who do you got next?
You know, I'm going to do something obscure. There's this movie from the late 70s with Kirk Douglas, and his son's the Antichrist, and the movie is called either The Chosen or Holocaust 2000.
All right, I'll look it up. I'll just put in parentheses Holocaust 2000. All right, I'm going to go cheap here, and I'm just going to say The Omen. Like
Okay.
that's an easy one, but I'm going to do it. I need a strong one in here.
That's true, yeah.
All right, who's your fourth pick?
Oh, boy. How about the would the movie Double count?
Sure.
Okay.
I like Double.
That does feature a demon of sorts, yeah.
So are you pandering to mine to make your list less strong?
Seriously, Mark, my brain is like drawing blanks right now, so that's what...
Dogma.
Ooh, good one.
Yep. Ooh.
You got an ooh out? No, now I got one. Now I got one.
All right, what?
Idle Hands, Mick and Penub.
Oh, no. That's a good one. So you have Rosemary's Baby, Exorcist, The Chosen, Double, Idle Hands. I have Constantine, Drag Me to Hell, The Omen, Dogma. And I'm going to end with... Jeez Louise. I'm going to end with something that people haven't watched in 30 years, but they're going to be like, oh, I love that movie. I'm going to just pick Bedazzled.
Oh, okay. Elizabeth Hurley? Or...
And everyone loves Brendan Fraser.
Oh, yeah.
He's like Mr. Rogers.
He is kind of, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to put this up on Movies, Films, and Flicks Facebook, and we'll have I'm 3-0 right now, by the way. So you have some
really?
tough competition right now, man. My teams are legit.
I am still bummed that Dredd lost that one poll against Doctor Strange. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Or it was something else. That was a tough loss to take.
Doctor Strange won that, and then it got wiped out. Honestly, when I started that tournament, I don't know why I say honestly, but I say falsely. But for me,
why would it be anything but honest?
Yeah, exactly. Mark, are you a liar? So I knew it was going to come down to Deadpool and Guardians of the Galaxy, just because their fan bases are so supportive. They are the most.
Absolutely.
It's just I could have The Godfather versus Deadpool, and people are like, "Oh, that boring Coppola picture." They would be like, "That's not even a film. That's a movie."
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they would say.
I think I had a tough time with, I think it was Deadpool versus the Avengers, because I think the Avengers is the better quality movie in terms of like production and all that stuff, but Deadpool's just more fun. So it's like, what do you go with, the overall quality, or just how and I guess that's the fun of putting something like that together, is people are really forced to kind of, it's like, well, what do I, how do I like it better? What do I like better about it? So
now I enjoy Deadpool. I like Ryan Reynolds, but the plot of that movie is he becomes an avocado face, and then he's like, oh, I can't show myself to my girlfriend who loved me, so I'm going to get surgery to get better, then go back to her, even though it takes me years. And then she sees him, she gets angry at him for being such an idiot and avoiding her, and then they get together.
Yeah.
And then they kill her in the second one, which is dumb.
Yeah, it is a bit of a, I don't know.
They freezered her.
In the cryotubes. Yeah.
They Mike Myers her.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking more of Dredd when he says to the panhandler, next time I see you, you're going in the cryotubes, or something like that.
That sounds great.
Oh, thank you.
I want a cryotube.
I would like to be frozen, and I don't know if I'd like what I'd come out to if I'm frozen for a couple decades or something like that. But
like an Army of Darkness type thing, the director's cut.
Yeah. Or just be kind of like The Thing, where it's like, okay, I was, thrown out of my spaceship and I'm in a block of ice. You idiots dig me out and then wake me up, and you wonder why I'm in such a mood and I want to imitate all of you. So,
They wake you up instead of Stallone, and then you have to fight Wesley Snipes in Demolition Man.
Well, that's my other fist fight, Mark. Yeah. It's a double with Stallone and Snipes.
I was watching some highlight reel footage on ESPN. They're doing a documentary leading up to it, and your footwork's looking good, man.
Thank you very much.
Speaking of fist fighting, I have a question for you. In this movie, there's a lot of characters who are, the brother wears a red shirt, right?
Yes.
The brother has that. It's very obvious. But during the fist fight between Julian and Chang, They're both wearing black and white.
Well, I thought, because I was really paying attention to the colors in this movie, so feel free to correct me. I felt like Ryan Gosling was wearing a navy blue vest and Chang was wearing the black.
I thought he had the back of his vest maybe had some color. I mean, it's tomato. I thought it was just a really svelte looking, like, black on white suit. Because the tie was black.
You know what? The fact of the matter is that, that's the blue is even if it's very dark, it looks blackish. So I'm willing to go with what you're saying. So yeah.
Why? Because this movie is draped in colors. It almost tells you how to you how to feel. Mm-hmm. So during this fight in either hell or purgatory or wherever, why are they not? And I think it is because during the commentary with Refn, he kind of talks about how Chang is the Old Testament God.
Yeah.
Where he does punish. He does. People pay for their sins with him.
Yeah.
And Ryan Gosling. Hey, Deadpool.
Hashtag drive-by.
So then the Notebook said, what I love about this movie is Julian, his mom, played by Kristen Scott Thomas, Crystal, is just, has done so many an infinite number of numbers on this kid. And despite his violent outbursts that actually landed him in Bangkok, and despite him beating up several club patrons, which I think is smart because it shows his physicality. He's a very physical presence in this.
Oh yeah.
But he's not evil. He doesn't win and say, the devil's gonna, I'm gonna meet the devil tonight, like the brother. Time to visit the devil. He's scared of his hands. He's scared of himself. He's unsure of himself. He's been very destroyed in regards to maybe some masculinity, which he has really done to him. But he's not. I mean, he obviously sells drugs, and many people probably die from those drugs. But he's not gone to the dark side, and that's why I think Chang sees him and goes, "That's not him." And I think that was a bad thing to say because then that led to more things in this. But Julian, for me, I felt for the guy. Obviously, he has some very antagonistic methods. He does murder people, but he's just broken. But he hasn't, something in him hasn't allowed himself to go full his brother. If that, full Billy, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I mean, Billy is just a totally despicable character, and we see him in action. He's just in the film for a few minutes, but that's like all you need to see of him to kind of get a feel for who he is and what he thinks he can do and get away with. And that when you see Kristen Scott Thomas enter the scene, it's like the same sort of thing. It's like, oh, there's this real ugly American sense of entitlement permeating this thing. It's like, it's like, I'm sure Crystal is doing plenty of horrible things with her criminal syndicate in the States, but as if that's not bad enough, she comes over to Bangkok and sort of spreads her disease in that way as well, like along with her son Billy. So I'm kind of with you in terms of Julian is not the victim per se, but he's, along with Chang, I feel like he's easily the most sympathetic character in the film.
They mention this many, many times, but he's afraid of what his hands can do. So he doesn't have an evil. He almost has maybe a petulance, a temper, because he takes out his anger on she's not really his girlfriend, on Mai. He takes his anger out on her, screams at her. She's weaker than he is. In regards to the situation, he beats up the hotel patrons because they can't fight him. I think that's an interesting, I don't know, man. This movie hit me pretty hard when I watched it in 2013. What was your first reaction to it when you watched it the first time?
I think I saw it, excuse me, pretty shortly after it came out on DVD and Blu-ray, because I think I'd seen Drive, so I was interested. I was kind of keeping tabs on Refn at that point, so I wanted to see what he did next. And I think I made a point to fast track this when it became available, and I just remembered being kind of like just sitting with my jaw dropped for 90 minutes. It just, between the colors and the way he tells the story, it's a brutal, pummeling film, and it's super violent. there's a lot of horrible things, totally horrible, committed by horrible people too. So, I just remembered kind of being taken on this weirdly philosophical, spiritual journey, but it happens to be jammed with these horrible characters and all of this horrible violence, but it's so brilliantly presented that you can't take your eyes off of it. It's a beautiful movie. Yeah.
This movie actually really helped me in my writing career. Because during 2013, I was working on a lot of film sets, and I was traveling with a Comic-Con probably 15 times a year. So I was basically just writing when I could. So when I had the free time, I would write.
Sure.
And I'd written reviews prior to this one, but I remember watching this movie and just going, I need to express something with this. I need to... I mean, you read it now and it's lacking commas. I haven't updated it. I should probably make it look better. But I felt like I tried to write. And so I think this really helped me as a writer because it got attention and it got shared and a lot of people liked it. And it really led me to really try to write as not opposed to, hey, I'm going to go to sleep in 10 minutes. So I'm going to try to write something just to have content. This really helped me write. And so I guess I look really fondly at this film.
Mm-hmm. So it kind of gave you like a boost in your confidence and your abilities. Yeah, that's cool.
And I felt, I sent the review to you. I felt a injustice about this movie because I had watched Valhalla Rising and Bronson prior to this. And I actually talked about Bronson with Sean. No, I'm not going to say that story. That's pretentious. I was on an extra on a movie set and I talked with an actor about it. It was really cool. So this was a long time ago, 2012 maybe, I don't know, 2011.
Okay.
But
all right.
I remember watching it, and I remember reading critics' reviews, and I kind of just thought, okay, so Drive just came out. Yes, it was a big hit. It crossed over. It transcended the genre. It was bloody, brutal, but somehow the music, Gosling, Carey Mulligan, it somehow worked towards the mainstream. But when Only God Forgives comes out, people seem to have forgotten that Nicolas Winding Refn, the man who made Pusher, Valhalla Rising, and Bronson, made this film. And I just thought, okay, Drive's the outlier, but have you completely forgotten who this man is? If that makes sense. I wasn't surprised by any of it. It wasn't overly, dude, Drive, people's heads explode.
The scene in the elevator where he just keeps crunching that guy's face with his foot. I was like, geez, this movie didn't get, I'm serious. When I watch his stuff, I'm like, how does he maintain an R rating? Because it seems like this stuff is going beyond that, but I'm like, that's still pretty cool. Yeah.
That's a good question, but I don't know. I just thought, I was like, this is more, The Only God Forgives is more accessible than Valhalla Rising.
Well, I wouldn't argue with that. Yeah.
And so I thought, wait, have people forgotten? What? It just was weird. It just felt, I don't know. As a young up-and-coming writer, I just thought, wait, all these people have watched his movies if they're serious about film, so why are they hating on this one? It just seems like maybe he was more, he lost his indie darling ways, and so then he made this one, and then they were expectations, I think, killed this film. And it is brutal, it is bleak, and I guess some people could say it's vapid, but for me it was everything but that.
No, I totally agree with you, Mark. Obviously, I wouldn't be talking about this movie if I didn't...
Why did you drag me on here, Mark?
I got to train for my fist fight. Come on, man. Why are you wasting my time? But I think maybe, because I think our memory's gotten a lot more selective now than it was even just in the 5 or 6 years ago it's been since Only God Forgives. I think maybe those critics who saw his early films and kind of saw the progression of his career probably looked at Drive and were like, okay, there's some, he's still playing with these art house tropes of kind of the man of few words, but he's got a good heart, but he can be driven to these violent extremes, but ultimately he just wants to protect this woman and her son who've kind of fallen into a bad spot because of him. So there is some redemptive stuff going on in that film that's a bit more palatable, I'd say, than in his other work.
Yeah.
He also didn't write that film. It was based off a novel and it was adapted by Hossein Amini. So maybe that had something to do with it. It might have been different if Refn had just like written the script himself. But I think critics were probably like, oh, this is wonderful. This is like a step up for him. So how's he going to evolve this type of interesting mainstream work? Because you're right, Mark. Drive did make a decent amount of money from what I remember, and I saw it in a multiplex. It wasn't like I had to go to a small indie theater to see it. It was playing everywhere when it came out. So I think like critics might have seen Drive and been all gaga about it, then see Only God Forgives and how Refn's kind of doubling down on the nihilism, and I don't want to say nihilism and cynicism, but doubling down on the bleakness kind of, whereas Drive, by comparison, even though it was brutal, it was still more approachable and it had that, more redemptive arc going for it that's a bit more transparent and easily grasped. Anyway.
I found the final shot and air quotes redemption or his punishment of Julian far more fulfilling than in Drive.
Yeah.
I just, his mom is saying that people have cum dumpsters. His brother's a murderer. He's just,
yeah.
Go for it. Sorry.
No, I mean, early on, like one of his first lines that totally sets his character is, I want to F a 14-year-old to a club owner. And he says it like there's nothing awful or wrong about it at all. And that's like, okay, I don't like you at all.
Yeah. They made him so unlikable. And then you have, in the beginning, Gosling was really nice to that kickboxer. You could see some warmness. He didn't kill the father who killed his brother. He didn't want the kid to die. And so he was capable of extreme violence. I don't know. I just saw, I don't know. In Drive, it just didn't, whatever, Scorpion the Frog, that kind of stuff. But I like this character a lot more. And I thought it was pretty interesting what Refn had to say, and I want to see what you think about this. In the documentary that they made about this, and in the commentary, Refn was talking about how after Drive, he wanted to kill that formula. He wanted to destroy it. He wanted to destroy the pleasure of creating. He wanted to create works when pure. He didn't want to repeat himself. He's like, we all want success, and that's why you destroy it. It's too easy. And that, like, to be easy is the chief enemy of creativity. And that's how Only God Forgives came out, which was, they shot for 6 months in Bangkok. And they didn't have much money. He and Ryan Gosling had to go to a screening of Drive, and they got paid in cash to go to it to further fund their shooting. They could not afford permits a lot of time when they were shooting on the street, so everything had to be quick. They shot in almost all on location inside of actual clubs. They went to the most interesting looking clubs so they didn't have to dress them, so they could add minimal production design. And every step of the way, this guy thought, hey, the relationship between Julian and May isn't working. This brother, Billy, is no character. Who is Chang? What is this? I'm not making something good. And so it's almost as if he revels in the insecurity and doubt. And he turned his back on momentum and he went to Bangkok instead without a full script.
Yeah.
And shot this. Is that self-destructive, or is that actual pursuit of something higher than easy? Does that make sense?
Well, it's almost like kind of, I don't know if I would call it guerrilla filmmaking, but it's kind of like when you don't have it's like you're used to, in the Hollywood machine more so. It's just like everything is in place and everybody has a function kind of. Whereas this sounds like he just kind of wanted to more just kind of feel out this idea he had and kind of see where it went. And I mean, it speaks to his confidence as a filmmaker that he was able to render this in such a, you were saying how he didn't have a complete script, and I was like, geez, well, I mean, I'm impressed because everything seems so fully formed in Only God Forgives, kind of like, and even the characters, even though they don't talk a lot, you get a real sense of who they are. So it's really impressive. It's that synthesis of the actors and the technical end of things, because I listened to the commentary too, and I was genuinely surprised when he was like, oh yeah, we didn't have permits. And I was like, how are you getting these amazing shots of the street and everything and just these open air settings? And he tells a story about paying off the cops.
Yeah, that was great.
To be able to do that. But I was just kind of impressed. It's just like, well, he didn't have any issue with paying off the cops to make his movie the way he wanted to. So
I thought it's really interesting in this one how he just kept talking about sex in regards to these characters too. We're not going to go too far into it, but when he beats the people up, he's saying he's sexually frustrated. He doesn't touch May with his hands, because he's so scared of his hands, or is it inadequacy? He doesn't deserve her because in his eyes she is pure, so he doesn't want his hands to touch her.
Well, here's what I was thinking.
They do touch her, but in kind of a curtain type atmosphere, like something separates the two of them.
Well, and the way that scene, like in the club, is shot, it's almost like you're not sure what's really happening, and or if he's just imagining this, because we see him sitting, slouched in the booth, and he's staring at her from across the room, and then all of a sudden he's up next to the curtain, reaching his hand in very trepidatiously, but then he's back. Then I feel like he's back in the booth again before he beats up the two guys. So all that to say, I was thinking about the theme of emasculation and what masculinity is heavy throughout this movie. And I think emasculation plays a part in, Julian's kind of, I think his mom calls him submissive, or he's the baby, he's the weak one or the baby, and he gets, dressed down a lot, so to speak. So
she orders the food for him. Like she knows, come give me a hug. And she does all of that on purpose, though. I believe she is an evil woman.
Oh, she's totally controlling. Yeah.
And she just does that. Like the hug that she gives him is overly sexual. She kind of has her hand near him. Give your mother a kiss. So she kind of revels in that control with him. But then she wants to tell him he's weak when she's created him. And
the whole dinner scene, which is one of the most cringeworthy scenes I've ever seen, where she starts talking about the boy's penis sizes, and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? It's like shouting it in your face, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, his is fine, but his brother's, oh. And I'm like, what is happening?
How old were they when you were still bathing them in the tub, for Pete's sake? Jeez.
And then I also love that the same music plays when he's talking with his mom the first time, and then when May is I guess pleasuring herself while he watches. So the musical cues by Cliff Martinez are they're not subtle, I'll tell you that, but they do. I don't know, this movie, all these people that boot it, I just think it creates this very interesting, thought-provoking feel to it.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that Ryan Gosling, or Julian, walks up to basically what would you say, maybe the god of the Old Testament, or a weird, walks up to a deity who can pull a sword from out of nowhere from his back. And
yes.
But what I like, though, is where his mom wants to do a drive-by shooting, right?
Yes.
And kill him. Yeah. Where his brother wants to destroy younger girl. He walks up to a god. He beats up two guys, first of all, and not afraid of them. Then he goes up to, essentially, in air quotes, a god, and says, want to fight.
Yeah.
So I love that about this character. I'm not putting him on Mount Rushmore, obviously. But I just think this guy, he didn't want to be there. He was created a monster. He got there because he's killed his father with his own hands, because his mom obviously Macbethed him into it.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing, and I thought that was interesting late in the film when Crystal. It's one of the more pensive, calmer, quiet moments that the two of them have. It's after Julian's gotten his ass handed to him by Chang, and Crystal's like, I swore to you after your father I'd never ask it again, or something like that. So, yeah, I was like, my total Lady Macbeth vibes, totally awful. Yeah.
I don't think it was hubris that had him wanting to fight Chang. Do you?
Catharsis, maybe. Just, I need to get this out of me because I got so much pent up rage that I don't know what to do with. So what do I have to lose? I'll feel something even if I do get my ass handed to me, which he does. So. And
I like how, to ask Chang, he stood there and looked at one of Chang's, I guess, right-hand men, and he waited till he got approval from that guy to go. So he's very polite in that regard. And he doesn't try to cheat. He doesn't try to... He basically just tries to box. Like, he throws a couple knees, but he never cheats. He just fist fights this thing. I think this is so much more of an interesting character than the driver. To me, I've said this 8 times, but I love this aspect of the character.
The more you say it, Mark, the more I'm thinking back to Drive, and it's really like it is like night and day, because you could look at both of them and say, oh, it's just Ryan Gosling and he's not saying much in either movie. But you're right, there is a world of difference because the driver is more of a blank slate throughout. And even though Julian doesn't spend a lot of, I think the IMDb said he only has like 17 lines in the whole movie. You get so much more of a feel for his character based on body language, his interactions with other people, just the way he looks at people, so I think I think you're right. It's definitely the more fleshed out, more 3-dimensional character. Yeah.
And, the movies we talked about the house. This is our Good Times trilogy, Drag to Cause Concrete, The House of Jack Felt, and this. I just love, so some of my favorite characters are, I love the movie Unforgiven, right? I love movies like
good movie. Yeah.
Royal Tenenbaums or Take Shelter, where people are just in these situations where they're trying. I don't know. They're Julian could have succumbed. Like when I hate that scene, he tells May to take off her dress, right? But then he just gives it back to her. So he had his bully moment. Obviously, I'm not saying he's a good guy, but it's just interesting this character study of a guy who could have gone evil, and he's still trying to fight it. I'm reading into it too much, but I don't know. I thought this movie has much more weight than a lot of people give it credit.
No, I absolutely agree with that, and I think you could say that scene where he tells her to take the dress off, it's the one time in the movie where he raises his voice above like a whisper, basically. It's such a shock because it's like, oh yeah, he probably just wanted to unload on his mom while he was sitting there, but it's one of those things where you wind up projecting on the person who will take it, kind of.
Yeah.
instead of telling the person who you really want to tell it to. So no, I totally agree with you, Mark. It's definitely a very, it sounds cheesy to say, but it's a strangely spiritual movie, and I think it resonates on a deeper level because it's a little more ambitious. It's not as earthbound as Drive. Like you were talking about Valhalla Rising, and I think that's probably a good comparison point for this.
All right. How about this? Let's take a quick break. We come back. We'll talk more. Only God Forgives. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks, and we have to talk about the torture scene. Jonny Numb.
Oh, good Lord, yeah.
So, Chang is, there's a drive-by shooting. Chang is almost killed. So basically what happens is, Julian's brother's killed. And because Julian's brother rapes and kills a 16-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Then the cop shows up, and lets the father kill the brother.
Mm-hmm.
And then Julian was supposed to go and kill the father. But yes. Julian said no because, the brother raped and it was fair. The mom shows up and she says he had his reasons for destroying a young girl, which is insane.
Yeah.
She has a young boy slit the throat of the father, which
and it bears noting that for what he did to Billy, Chang chops off the father's right hand.
Yep, chops off his right hand, and Chang allows it too, which is pretty wild. So then they kill the father who killed Billy. But then the problem is there's this cop involved, Chang. So Crystal puts a hit on Chang. A lot of people get killed, but Chang does not die. Chang ends up actually brutally slicing open a man's ribcage.
Yes.
Inside of this weird place where there's a lot of film, which I guess knowing how seedy the world is, it's like, what's on all these reels?
In the commentary, Nicolas Winding Refn said it wasn't actually film, even though it looks like film cans. He said it wasn't, but I like where you're going with that, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that in the commentary. I was like, I'm gonna ignore that. It's film.
Because I was thinking the exact same thing, and I was thinking, what the hell are those plastic bags hanging from the ceiling?
And it's just And then I like how the guy who put the hit out on Chang basically said, I accept my punishment, but don't hurt this kid I'm with. Who they actually found the kid in an orphanage, which is pretty gnarly. The guy who got the oil in his face by Chang, one of the hitmen gets killed. So then that leads us to Chang finding Byron at what would you say, like a sex club?
I believe it's like an upscale brothel.
Oh, yeah.
Refn was talking about how they shot like in brothels and they were like all kind of upscale places. Yeah.
Yeah, so he shot in an upscale brothel. I have a question. There's a scene where Crystal is watching these guys flex. Do you think she likes that because it's strength?
I could, that's a good observation. Yeah, just like muscle on top of muscle. It's kind of, but she's looking at them in a very predatory way. And it's the way that scene you're talking about is shot. You're not sure what she's looking at because there's no context until Refn reveals the bodybuilders. For a while, you think she's in the same room with Julian looking at Mai. So it's, yeah. So strength, yeah.
And all right, so then this leads to Chang finding Byron at this upscale brothel, and he stabs his legs.
Mm-hmm.
No, he stabs his arms. He goes through his, okay, I guess I can set this up. Byron's sitting in a chair with his arms on the armrest, and Chang stabs him at the same time through basically right below his wrists, so he's stabbed into the chair.
Yeah, he's pinned. Yeah.
Literally pinned, because those were big pins. Oh, no.
Oh!
Hey, boom, try the veal. And then he gets his leg stabbed, right?
Yeah.
And then he gets his, let's see, what's the next?
He cuts his left eye with a knife.
Cuts his left eye with a knife.
Yeah.
I have my notes in here. Let's see.
And I think he drives the pins into his ears. Yeah.
So he goes arms, legs, eyes, ears.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Well, and I love how he's speaking. Chang is speaking kind of in this weird. I'm trying. There's a name for what. There's a specific name for what he's doing. It's almost like he's talking in riddles. It's like you can't see what's good for you, so you should not be able to see. You obviously don't listen, so why do you need ears? Something to that effect. So he says something really. Really poetic before he does these horrible things to this guy who has it coming. I mean, I have no qualms saying that this guy deserves what he's getting, but
yeah, he went behind Julian's back and it's excessive. Now, this character Chang, he has moments of anger, but he also has moments of mercy.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty interesting, but it's interesting how angry he gets and how merciful he can be.
Yeah.
He's like, you come to my city and you do this? How come the tattooed guy didn't get anything happening to him?
Are you talking about the redheaded guy?
Yeah, Byron was sitting next to the redheaded tattooed guy when he ordered the hit, and that same guy was in the back of the club.
Oh, you know what? I missed that he was in the back of the club, actually. I know who you're talking about, and I was actually wondering that myself because after I rewatched it without the commentary, I watched it with the commentary, that time I was like, where is this guy? And why isn't he getting on the receiving end of any of this divine justice that's happening?
He was sweating bullets in the back of that club.
Okay. I believe you.
He's like, is he going to come to me next? And then they never go to him. Do you just leave then? Or do you take over? Like, cause their syndicate is done. Yeah. Right. So there's going to be an even bigger turf war now, correct? To take over there.
I feel like that's how it tends to go, at least in the movies. So yeah.
Who got there first? Billy or Julian in Bangkok?
Actually, I think Crystal reveals at one point that Billy came over after Julian did, I think. I feel like there's some dialogue about that.
So he fled wherever he was, 10,000 miles away, and he starts the empire there? Or do you think he just got a house and was living, and then Billy came over and did all that?
I mean, that's a good question. I'm thinking the way Crystal makes it sound is that Julian was kind of like, oh, he's good with his hands, but he's soft on the inside or something like that. He's too sensitive. So maybe Julian went over and then Billy came to like be the enforcer or whatever to try and, because I can see Billy being ruthless to a unconscionable degree, but I can't quite see Julian going that same distance that, criminal enterprise kind of requires, that muscling and strong arming stuff. So
because they owned a section of Bangkok.
Okay, yeah.
Right? They did, because she had all those kilos of drugs coming in.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like territory, your zone, kind of. Yeah.
They must have had some crazy City of God dread turf wars.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, if what we see in the movie when those dominoes start dropping, like the whole massacre at that restaurant, could you imagine that happening on a daily basis? Yeah.
How great is Kristen Scott Thomas in this movie?
She is scary good in this movie.
Like
I would not. Yeah, I didn't want to be anywhere near that table when they were having dinner, so I can imagine how she would be like in whatever we don't see filmed of her character. So yeah.
Did he actually see her in that room, or was she in his head because she was waiting there for him like almost like a specter, like a ghost? Do you think that scene happened?
I would say that one could be taken fairly literally.
Okay.
In my estimation, because we've already established, I think at that point that she's in the country, so she's checked into the hotel, and right from the get-go she's berating and insulting the desk clerk for inconveniencing her. So I would buy the fact that she's aware of the boxing club and she knows where to find Julian, and so I could see her totally just making herself at home in a very perverse, incestuous way. Yeah.
Why is her hallway and room bathed in yellow? A lot of scenes with her is yellow, but then Julian lives in red.
I kind of go back to like the repressed, rage, anger, of his character that I associate with his character. A lot of blood gets spilled in the film, I think, of, red. It's a beautiful neon red, but it's just, another thing. It's like, blood all over the place, people getting beaten up, people getting shot, stabbed, the whole enchilada, as they say. And
I guess the good thing about yellow is it can represent, happiness or positivity, but it also can represent deceit. It can represent sickness, jealousy. So I think this is a good color for her, because a mom, you should have this loyalty with your mother. But then, this color has so many different representations, but so does red, right? Love and blood. So, I mean, it could go for any color, but I thought that the yellow was interesting with her. I know they contrasted, but I kind of liked that yellow. Like, I don't know. I dug that. It seemed like a smart color choice for the palette of the film.
Mark, I'm glad you brought that up, because the guy that you were talking about in the back of the club, his name is Gordon. And something I took note of was immediately after the father gets his throat slit, Gordon, walks through Crystal's hotel penthouse loft or whatever. And it's yellow, like the lighting is yellow around the entrance to the balcony, but it's also green. So I was thinking kind of like a sick, nauseated kind of thing going on there as well.
Oh, that's good. And also kind of wealth, since it's in the penthouse.
Yeah.
Are you talking about in the penthouse?
Yeah.
No, but you're absolutely right. Like the kind of sickening. I mean, that's what that color represents as well. I mean, I don't think any of these choices were an accident, right?
Oh no, absolutely. I think,
look what color that is. Woo. That was a happy accident.
No, yeah. I think with Refn's films, you go on to the Neon Demon, and that movie is probably even more color obsessive than this film is. But I just love that about his stuff. It's just it's something that pulls you in, even when the stuff that's happening on screen is totally heinous and hideous and sometimes unwatchable.
I like what Larry Smith, the cinematographer, did. And I looked him up. He'd also done Bronson. He did The Guard, which is a movie I love, with Brendan Gleeson and Don Cheadle. But he also worked on Eyes Wide Shut. He was the gaffer on The Shining. He was the lighting cameraman on Barry Lyndon. He worked on the Alienist, which I loved. And also a movie called Tao on Netflix with Micah Monroe that looks really good. So I just thought it's really interesting how this guy Larry Smith, he actually went to work on Bronson and The Guard, but the Eyes Wide Shut, Shining, and Barry Lyndon are the complete opposite of Only God Forgives, and the fact that they took 6 months. Obviously, Only God Forgives, it didn't film all the time, but these are so camera heavy and lighting, so specific. So maybe that's why this guy works well with Nicolas, because he's very specific, right? So he kind of, if you can work with Kubrick, you can work with anybody, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I also like the production design. I like how they, I was talking to my class about this and how I showed them clips from this film, but then I also kind of lectured them about the usage of the clubs and the look for the best cheap production design. And I noticed that she had also worked on Drive, Lost River, which was also with Ryan Gosling directed. But then she's moved up.
That's a good movie actually. Yeah.
But she's moved up to Collateral Beauty, Motherless Brooklyn, Suicide Squad, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the latest Suicide. Like she's moved up, Beth Mickle from her early work.
That's impressive. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was pretty interesting. And then I also, I don't know. I just think this movie, for me, okay, I just find it so interesting. And they were there for 6 months, but they had no budget. And they had to scout, they didn't have permits. For me, that's much more interesting than, listen, you know me, dude, I love $200 million movies. I think.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The way I look at them is like, they're like skyscrapers. Some of them are beautiful. They're put together with tons of concrete. They're put together with tons of staff, coordination, scheduling, math, engineering. And in the end, they're beautiful, right? But I'm never too interested I'm interested in the view from the skyscrapers, but never in them like other than the engineering. But when I see a smaller structure built by an eclectic architect, I'm much more drawn to that. And so that's maybe why I like this movie so much. Is it's all Winding Refn. It's all him, and it's very eclectic, and I like that about it.
No, absolutely. I agree with you, Mark. I think, for as much flack as I give some of the Marvel movies that show up in the MFF polls on Facebook, it's like I can sit down and enjoy like a Thor Ragnarok or
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh my God! The Ant-Man movies are like the MVPs of the Marvel universe, in my opinion. Those are so much fun.
It's a true serum.
But, yeah, but absolutely. It's like I can get behind those movies and love those movies and have fun with them. But something like this feels more personal, more risk-taking, more dangerous in the way it presents its themes, but also a bit more like there's. Like, I think Winding Refn is he is kind of a curious fellow, and I think curious in a spiritual sense. And he goes on a whole thing on the commentary track about this film was representative of, he wanted to do a film about fighting God. And he's talking about how the birth canal is the closest we get to God on earth, kind of. See, stuff like that, it's just the stuff he's throwing out during that commentary track is like, okay, some of it sounds a little heady to me, but I kind of like that, and I can kind of see where he's coming from. It doesn't sound like he's being pretentious, So I really can get behind and respect that about that. And that's probably why the film has kind of this pull on me, is because I'm just like, he's taking you to another place that's kind of transcending just the pure, I'm going to sit back for 2 hours, eat popcorn, and be entertained. He wants to do a bit more than that, I think.
How earnest do you think he is about all of that? He's saying this movie is, he like you just said, he's saying this movie is. Wait, what did you say? You just said it. It's like he said this movie could be told inside. What's the note that he says in here? I'm struggling, but he says something about this movie could take place inside. The
womb?
Yeah, right? He said that.
I think something like that, yeah.
I mean, like, how earnest do you think he is with that? Because he says, he said, I think this movie takes place in the vagina. That is probably very, very true.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure what to make of that, honestly. I think when he said that, I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit. I think he might be reaching or trolling us with that one. Yeah.
We couldn't see him winking when he was doing that. Now, the final shot, not the final shot, but when Gosling comes in, or Julianne comes in and finds his mom dead, because Chang just cut her artery in her neck, and she just died quick. Well, it was a pretty. From what she did to him and ordered, that was a pretty merciful death on her, all things considered.
Yeah, I guess it's like, if someone else had directed the movie, they might have just dwelled on, Kristen Scott Thomas's character being tortured to death, for her sins, kind of. But I think Chang is just more like, I'm delivering this justice, and I'm just gonna slit your jugular and be done with you because you're such a black spot on humanity. Yeah.
That's perfect. He just wanted it done. I like that a lot. And that led to Julian stealing one of Chang's swords, and he comes in, he cuts her gut open, and he sticks his hand inside her. So Refn said that he penetrated her, but for some reason I read it as he wanted that blood on his hands.
I kind of like your theory better, Mark. I think that was another point where I was kind of I think Refn was kind of rabbit trailing, and he was kind of losing me a bit with that. But I was kind of wondering what the deal was with that. And the sword that Chang uses, to get back to emasculation and notions of masculinity, the sword can be read as a phallic symbol as well in the film. So, you can even go as far as to say Julian is pathetically penetrating his dead mother with that in a bit of necromantic action. I don't know if you want to read the whole sexual angle into it, but I like the blood on your hands thing better because he feels a sense of guilt, like, maybe in letting the father go. But he viewed that as the right thing, but he's not allowed to be confident in his decisions because it's constantly being undermined by something else or someone else.
And then the next shot is of his hands, and then it leads to him getting them, as we can guess, being chopped off by Chang. So obviously he shot the cop, so he had to suffer for that. But he saved the girl, so Kristen Scott, the mom wanted to have Chang and his family killed. Julian saved, his daughter, I believe, maybe. His daughter? Would you say daughter?
I think it was his daughter. Yeah.
But is killed, but Julian saves the granddaughter. And so he takes pity on him. But the final shot, so he sticks his hand in her guts. Next, shot is of his hands. And then the next shot is them getting cut off. So it's like his hands became impure? Or was that the punishment? Did he wanted those hands gone? So
in a sense, you're thinking maybe Chang did him a favor?
I think he wanted that from day one.
Because the hands were the cause of his problems to begin with, killing his father, and the hands have caused more harm than good, I guess. Yeah.
Like, super literal. There's tiny brains in his hands. But I don't know. I just thought that was a neat way to end. And that's the way I wanted to read it. Like, I felt like he did that to get her blood on him, like his hand. And then there's this acknowledgement between him and Chang when Chang walks in and sees him sitting there on the sofa.
Yeah, I think there's an element of kind of, it's kind of jarring because, you go from that scene and you're suddenly out in the woods. Where the execution, not the execution, but the hand severing takes place. And I just think there's kind of a resignation to Gosling's character. He's kind of like, this is, in a sense, I feel like these characters have this unspoken understanding that this is the inevitability that they've been building toward, and they both kind of accept, that this is what it has to be.
Man, I'm glad you joined me for this episode, because this movie's been eating at me since 2013.
I'll be honest, I probably watch it at least once a year because it's just one of those movies I'll just be like, I'm in a weird only God forgives mood, so I take it out and I'm just transfixed by it every time. Yeah.
I think there's something I don't know if I want to look into this more, but I love, this is going to sound weird, but characters I love are like Doug Glatt in Goon, which is one of my favorite movies where he's this really nice fist fighter. And then I love Say Anything, where Lloyd Dobler is just a really nice kickboxer. And then I'm not saying this guy is a good character on the line of Doug Glatt in this, but he's very morally torn, and he's a fighter. So I don't know, maybe I just like characters who are fighters, like scrappers. Yeah,
no, I mean, do you like Fight Club, Mark?
No, I like it, but I'm not drawn towards it. Even though that's a takedown of that kind of masculinity, that's, what the book was meant for.
Yeah.
That sort of fighting never appealed to me. Because these guys, because they're fighting because they're frustrated with the world. And they're men, and they're frustrated, so they have to go fight each other to vent. I think Doug Glatt's just a good dude who wants to protect people. Okay. Lloyd Dobler just wants to kickbox because he's good at it. And then Julian, I think he likes it. I think he likes training these guys. I think that's his favorite part of that world. And I don't think he's that great at it. And I don't think he fights because he has this, I'm angry at the world and I'm a man, so I need to let my energy go. I think he just has I'm just messed up and I want to fist fight.
Well, and it's kind of like, it's like he's channeling it through through that kind of, it's like, this is one way I can kind of, it's a healthy outlet if you're teaching other guys to do it and kind of making it, doing an example of it by leading by example kind of. So I can see that definitely.
I just did a weird breakdown about fist fighting movies. So what are we doing next, man? What's our next feel bad movie that we're going to cover? What's been on your mind that, you're part of a great, you know what, I'll do an introduction to you. I'll promote the Last Knock podcast and your site. I'll just go back and record it again and put it to the front of this. But what movie has Billy Crash not wanted to talk about that you're aching to talk about?
Horror movie or just anything
you want, man. Yeah, what does he not want to do? I'm not playing favorites, but like if there's a movie you really want to talk about, man, I'm in.
You know what, Mark? I don't know if you've seen this one, but this one's been stuck in my head, and I've been meaning to rewatch it, so I don't know if this would be of interest to you. What about the movie Elle by Paul Verhoeven?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, I thank you, because I wanted to rewatch it, and now I have an excuse to.
I love covering Verhoeven. Like that's our biggest episode of 2019 is Total Recall. So
that is like, oh my God, Norbert's impersonation of Keith David. Yeah. It slays me, man. It just slays me.
That one is like a 4-quadrant picture where it's like a cult classic, but it was huge, and it's an action movie, but it's also smart. So it has this huge audience. So that's our number one thing. Yeah, dude, I'll talk about Verhoeven all day. That was Verhoeven, yeah, and then great performance. Let's do Elle. Let's do that. Let's do that next.
Sounds good, man.
All right, cool. So hey, for me, actually, do a quick plug at the end. So I love your podcast. I just listened to your Climax one and your episode, and I loved your defense of it. But I totally got where Billy Crash was coming from. I understood it, and I disagreed, but I totally understood what he was saying, because he didn't just say I don't like it. Everything he said had a good reason. So I really was drawn to that episode. I thought it was great. But promote your stuff, man, in the podcast real quick.
You can find I'm co-host of the Last Knock podcast, a bi-weekly horror podcast. You can find it at crashpalaceproductions.com, along with my occasional movie reviews of horror movies. And you can also find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at Jonny Numb. There are no H's in those Johnnies.
Love it. Hey, so for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for Johnny Mad Dog Numb, actually, next month, tune into the pay-per-view. We'll give you an update on how he did against the Immortal Deity. We'll let you know if he won or not. So this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.